When you hear the word nuclear, what comes to mind? Is it nuclear war? Meltdown and fallout? Is it nuclear waste? There are massive stigmas surrounding this word, nuclear. But what if I were to tell you that you could picture this? Or even this? What if I were to tell you that nuclear may very well be the answer to a greener and brighter Earth? What if I were to tell you that nuclear power just might be the bridge to a renewable energy sources? Would you believe me? For my Genius Hour, I explored this question: how does the world switch from fossil fuels to renewable energy? And the answer? It may surprise you. It is no secret that our world is changing and not for the better. Global temperatures are rising, the albedo effect is in full swing, melting our polar ice caps, and the Keeling curve is in an exponential rise. How do we combat this? We need to lower our greenhouse gas emission down to net zero, we need to transition into using low emissions renewable energy, and we need to electrify as many sectors as possible. But why? Approximately 76% of global emissions are produced by burning fossil fuels to produce energy. Unfortunately, most of the world procures their energy by burning these fossil fuels. 84% of the world's primary energy source is from burning these resources: 33% oil, 27% coal, 24% gas. Only 16% of global energy is from low-emission sources such as hydro, solar, wind, and tidal. Only 16%. Unfortunately, implementing low emissions energy is not very easy, and a main factor as to why the global percentage is so low. Current renewable sources have issues with reliability and consistency. It's not always windy, the sun doesn't always shine, and seasons do vary. We would need massive energy storage capabilities to help alleviate these issues. Unfortunately, our technology just isn't there yet. Until we have these capabilities and technologies, we need to rely on other sources of energy. In comes nuclear. If we don't have the technology to fully transition to renewable right now, and we can't keep burning fossil fuels, we need something to bridge that gap, and that bridge is nuclear. Although it's not renewable, nuclear emissions are tiny in comparison to fossil. Currently, the countries with the lowest carbon output main source of power is from hydro and/or nuclear. Nuclear is a fantastic alternative that has a high energy output at the same time as a low emissions output. But what about all that waste? It is true that nuclear energy has an unwanted and dangerous byproduct. But did you know that there's also radioactive waste in fossil fuel consumption as well? Coal produces up to 36,000 tons of highly radioactive byproduct each year in comparison to nuclear's current 11,000 tons. That's over 25,000 more tons. It is also handled more poorly than nuclear waste. It's usually pushed back into mines, dumped into ponds that then leak into lakes and rivers, even piled up and exposed to the wind. Living within 1.6 kilometers of a coal ash pile increases your risk of cancer by 2,000 times the acceptable limit. Nuclear at least has procedures to properly deal with its waste, burying it in impenetrable concrete vessels and stored away safely while its half-life is in effect. But what about nuclear meltdowns? Well, this is where new technology comes into play. It is true that there have been significant incidents in the past when nuclear power plants have meltdowns, causing devastating fallout that the world still suffers from to this date. And obviously only implementing the idea that we will just be careful won't satisfy public opinion. Even though first world countries have strict rules and regulations when it comes to nuclear plant production, the technology is still old and intimidating. Fortunately, we are currently on the precipice of nuclear advancements for the first time in over 60 years. Small modular reactors, or also known as SMRs, and microreactors. Nuclear will be an essential contributor to the global transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy. And luckily, our country, Canada, is looking to be the forerunner of the new nuclear movement with plans and contracts worth over billions of dollars for SMR and microreactor production. But this will all have to wait for future videos. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for future content in nuclear.